What's good, YouTube? We covering the draft today. I'm glad so far we got the top 20 picks locked in. So I'm about to go into an in-depth review and some analysis up on the picks and how they gonna fit in with their new teams with the talent they got right now. This doesn't include free agency or this doesn't include trades that's gonna happen later in the draft. I updated for round two. So far, Ben Simmons went to Philadelphia. This is an excellent pick for them. I prefer them to have Brandon Ingram because they need shooters, but they're going to have to reconstruct that roster, like I said in the rebuilding video. But if they get Ben Simmons, they get somebody that can rebound, get out on fast break. He's the best passer on the team already, and a guy that can restructure their offense. He likes to have the ball in his hand a lot. He needs some shooters. If they get Dario Saric and Robert Covington to come, Darius Saric to come down and put Robert Covington at the 3 or the 2. Maybe they can have some shooting there. Maybe he's going to have to play power forward and Nerlens Noel and Joel Embiid at center. Maybe they get rid of Jaleel Okafor just because he's better trade bait because he's so dominant. He shot 50% and 17 points and 7 rebounds. Maybe they can trade him because he is a dominant player on the court. Maybe Nerlens Noel is the guy they keep, or Joel Embiid, to see what they got during the season or see what they got during the off season with those two guys. So that way they can trade one of those two guys, because you don't need 3 centers. You only need 2, one for backup and one to keep for starting, because Ben Simmons going to play power forward or the 3. They still need a point guard. I don't really like the point guards that they have, but that's something they can still get in this draft because there's a lot of guards and forwards and shooting guards in this draft. There's a whole lot of them from the NCAA, but it is some European players that they can get too. But it is a lot of guards. Brandon Ingram is going to the Lakers. You got Clarkson, you got D'Angelo, you got another shooter, and Brandon Ingram. I would love to see who they get with their next pick, because that's going to really show how they're going to build this team. I'm not a huge fan of Julius Randle. I'm not a huge fan of his, but he showed that he can be productive in the NBA. Some people thought he'd be a bust. Some people thought he'd be all right. I'm one of the people that's still shaky on him. He doesn't really seem like he's going to pan out to be a superstar type of player, but at least they got Ingram and Nance, because Nance can play the 4 too. And if you got Russell, Clarkson, Brandon Ingram, and Nance, and a center that can get up and down the court, maybe they can play some small ball like Golden State, or maybe they can play some quick athletic basketball. They got Luke Walton, who like to do the pace and space and quick offense. Maybe that's a direction they should go, and that's my original analysis. Number 3, Jaylen Brown in Boston. I think he's going to be a trade chip because we already got players like Jay Crowder, Avery Bradley, and stuff like that. We don't really need another 3. We needed more of a point guard that can shoot. And because Isaiah Thomas is older and we got a younger team, maybe if Marcus Smart can develop a shot, which he's taking forever to do, and maybe if Avery Bradley can learn how to pass, we can move one of them to the point, because Isaiah Thomas, I don't believe he's the long-term solution on the Boston Celtics, because he is 28 or 27 years old. He is older, and he is more of a scorer than he is a facilitator, but they need more shooters, and Jaylen Brown does not feel that. But he is a high-risk player, though, because his ability to play all positions, the 2, the 3, and the 4, his athleticism is ridiculous. He reminds me a little bit of Jimmy Butler. He can defend, he can slash, and he also has high potential if he can learn how to shoot or post up and get that mid-range game. Mid-range, slash, pull-up jumpers, and post-ups, and add the 3 long. When he get a little older, he could be a Jimmy Butler clone in Boston. So that could be a good pick if they keep it. Dragon Bender is just a stretch for Phoenix. They lost Markieff Morris, so they just needed to get a stretch four back. But he is very young, so he could be way better. He could be higher ceiling than Markieff Morris, who panned out to be a role player so far. And that's pretty much what he's going to be, unless John Wall get him some open looks next year, because I do like the Wizards. Chris Dunn, number 5. I don't really like this pick because they're going to have to do something with Ricky Rubio. Ricky Rubio going to lose his starting spot because Zach LaVine sometimes play point and Chris Dunn play point. So that means Ricky Rubio going to be on his way out, or Chris Dunn going to have to sit the bench. I'd rather have Zach, Chris Dunn, Andrew at the 3, Carl at the 4, and Gorgie Dang at the 5. I like that roster. They can be an athletic team. They can be a very good defensive team because Wiggins and Dunn and Levine got the athleticism, and so do Towns. I like this potential for this team, but they gotta learn how to play as a team, keep gaining chemistry, they need execution, and they need hard nosed defense, and that's why Tom Thibodeau is the perfect coach for them because he's gonna teach them how to win basketball and teach them how to cherish possessions, and that's what they need: the coach and the talent, and now they got it. Buddy Hield at the Pelicans. They just needed a scorer, and they just need to replace for Eric Gordon because he might leave in free agency. So they just need a player to replace him. And if he doesn't leave, they still need to replace him anyway because he just tore up to the floor up. So many injuries. Was a 20-point scorer. He just need a new place to reinvent himself and regain his money back. Probably sign a 2-3 year deal or 1 year with a player option next year and regain his popularity and his value around the league. Number 7 is Jamal Murray. I like this, but they already do have a backcourt with Moutier and I forgot the other guy's name, but Gary Harris is his name. I like Gary Harris and Jamal Murray. I like that one of them gonna have to come off the bench or you're gonna have to move one of them to the 3, but Danilo is on the team, and then they drafted a 4. Juan here Gomez, he's going to play. They drafted Malik Beasley too, so they're gonna be fighting for positions, and one of them gonna have to get traded, which is they. I like Denver. Denver is on the way up. They're on the way up in the Western Conference. If Moutier can develop a mid-range shot in a post-up or a three-point shot mid-range in threes and is slashing, and if Gary Harris can consistently knock down shots, or you can get Jamal Murray to knock down shots on a perimeter, or you can just put Moutier off the bench and put Murray and Harris and Danilo so you can have floor spacing. It's a lot of things they can do in Denver, and they got more options now, and they real young. So I'm liking the roster. Like I said, Marquise Chris is just a hustle player. He plays hard. He plays with will and strength. That's a good pickup for the Phoenix Suns. It don't matter what they give up. They do need a power forward, and he could be a project for the first 2 years, but after that, he's going to be a gem. Jacob, well, that's not how you say it, but the guy that Toronto drafted, he's just one of those players that's going to come in and produce because he's just a high volume player. Like he just have a good basketball IQ, great rebounder, just knows how to play the game of basketball. So he's gonna come in and contribute right away, and he's gonna be on that cheap rookie deal. So if he overproduce, it's better for Toronto anyway. Instead of paying Bismack and Biyombo all that money, you can get a guy that can replace him. And I do like Jonas Valanciunas. I just wish they use him a little more. Thon Maker. Milwaukee could have got him a little later in the draft, but they decided to go all in on him in top 10. He's going to be a player that we're going to have to see how he develops. He can post up. He can score. He's a little quick for his size because he don't have that much weight on him. But Thon is a guy that could pay off in the end because they already have Giannis, Barry, Chris Middleton. Now they just need a point guard that can shoot. They do got Jared Bayless coming off the bench and Grievous, but we want to see what they're going to do in free agency. But if Michael Carter can't fill the void at the point guard, they're going to have to get a point guard that can really that can really finish that position off because they're really going to struggle at that point guard position because they need somebody that can facilitate and score to keep pressure on the defense. Next is Domantas Sabonis. I think he got traded. So with that being said, he was drafted by the Magic. I think he got traded. Tyrion Prince got drafted for ATL. I like that pickup. He's a DeMarre Carroll 2.0, a hard worker, a floor spacer, a guy that gets out on fast break, and a guy that's just going to work on his game until he is perfectionist. So he's going to work so hard that it's actually going to pay off. Next, we have Sacramento gets Gorgias. I don't really know about this guy that much, to be honest with you. But this is a guy that's going to be on the bench because they don't need a power forward or a center. So he's going to pretty much be a guy that's going to be a rotation player for them until they figure out what they're going to do with their roster. Denzel Valentine to Chicago. This is a sure thing type of pick. Like it's like a Jabari Parker type of pick. You know what you're getting in a guy. You know what you're gonna get from him. And they do need a two because they got Jaren Grant who plays point. They're gonna have to put a shooting guard for Jimmy Butler to play the three. I do wish they do let Mike Dunleavy go because he is older. They need to build this roster younger. So to have Jimmy Butler and Denzel and Jarian all around the same age, and then a power forward and Nicola or Taj Gibson around the same age. They just need the center position to be filled, which they can fill that easily in the free agency. I like what Chicago's doing with this roster, and I'm going to go second round so you can see what they're going to do in the second round. Juan, I talked about him already. He's going to be on the bench for a couple seasons because they filled in Denver at those positions. Boston picked up another hard worker. He reminds me of Jared Sullinger, just more athletic. So maybe Jared Sullinger or Kelly Olynyk might sit the bench for Garshin because he's a hard worker. He's athletic. He can dunk. He can finish. He can shoot threes. And he just got a lot of tenacity in him. So I would probably start him, but he's gonna have to work up that rotation with Brad Stevens because nothing is given is only earned. Wade Baldwin coming to Memphis. He already went to college in Memphis in high school. So Tennessee. So at the end of the day, this is home for him, and it's just a reinsurance plan in case Mike Conley leave. Also, number 18, Harry Ellison is another short thing guy that has the basketball IQ, can score with hooks, jump shot threes, post ups. There's an all around gifted player. He's going to be able to come in and contribute day one, kind of like Stanley Johnson. There's a guy that you know what you're going to get. So it's just a low bust potential pick. 19, Malik Beasley. This guy's going to sit the bench just because they got too many guards. They got to figure out what they're going to do with Harris. They got to figure out what they're going to do with the guy, Jamal Murray. They're going to have to figure out what they're going to do with Emmanuel Mudiay because they have way too many guards now. And Brooklyn gets Karis out of Michigan. This is a guy that can back up Brook Lopez or be a power forward because he can dribble, he can shoot. Not as good, but that's something that he can work on. He got confidence in the jump shot because he takes them. He can beat people off the dribble. He can get to the paint. He can get to the free throw line. I like him for Brooklyn, and we're going to see what they're going to get with their other pick. I like the picks in this draft so far for the teams. Next, we're going to talk about the trades.